Thanks everyone for joining into this con call. So from the management, as usual, we have with us Mr. R. Mahesh Kumar, President, Mr. S.L. Narayanan, Group CFO, and Mr. V.C. Unikrishnan, CFO. S.L., should we open directly for Q&A?
Just to maximize available time, I request that you throw it open for Q&A, and we'll try and maximize the time available, which is till 6 p.m. India time. So just over to you, Ankur.
Yeah, please. Let's go ahead to the Q&A then.
Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, we will now begin the question and answer session. Anyone who wishes to ask a question may press star and 1 on their touchtone phone. If you wish to remove yourself from the question queue, you may press star and 2. Participants are requested to use handsets while asking a question. Ladies and gentlemen, we will wait for a moment while the question queue assembles. To ask a question, please press star followed by 1. Now, we have a first question from the line of Avnish Roy from Edelweiss. Please go ahead.
Sir, congrats on extremely good set of numbers. My first question is on advertising. I understand base is very favorable for the past few years. But of course, in Tamil Nadu, which is your key home market, we are seeing extremely high competition. One more new player has come. So structurally, my question is, can you still expect to grow at double digits? I'm not asking about next 2-3 quarters. I understand that is possible. But how do you see this new development, and is base the only reason for such a strong growth?
No, I think in terms of new development, you're talking about colors being launched, or otherwise we are not seeing much development happening in this market.
Yes, colors.
I think you would have seen the overall viewership numbers. It's been not created any major impact or dent in the market as of now. And we are very strongly holding 50% plus share in this market collectively between GEC and non-GEC. And we are extremely confident that this number will be sustained, or we will further improve on this number, because we are just strategizing on how we can further strengthen our overall position in this market.
One follow-up here. What about Zee's rating? Zee has also claimed almost 20% kind of market share. And any big change in the programming apart from the commissioned model in terms of programming? What is the thought process?
So we are, I think, lined up a lot of launches in the next quarter, which is, we are just strategized and planned it in such a way that we plan our launches subsequent to the IPL. So we will see some new fiction launches happening in the Q2, which is basically across all our network channels.
And sir, second question is on IPL. Now what's the revised profit number? You had earlier expected strong recovery in the profit. Now your team is also doing really well. Does that change materially the profit expectation?
No, I see. We had said that things look a lot better based on the new number which was in the public domain for the next 5 years telecast rights. I don't think we guide any specific profit number at all. But so depending on the position in the playoffs and ultimately who wins the tournament and who stands runner-up, there is a prize money element. But we can't predict those kind of outcomes at this stage. We'll be delighted if we win it again. We last won in 2016. At that time, the prize money was 30 crores. I don't know what the number is now. So, of course, we would like to be number one. But the bottom line is the viability of IPL has become considerably better on the back of more sponsorship money and more telecast rights backing the event. And that's only because it commands something like 180 million Indians watching the tournament through these 6 weeks. So we are very well positioned with a very valuable franchise. Let's just leave it at that.
Okay, sir. That's all from my side. Thank you.
Yeah. Thank you, sir. We have a next question from the line of Kapil Singh from Nomura. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Congrats on a great performance by not only the business but the IPL team as well. I wanted to check firstly on the growth outlook. I think if anything you would like to say there, are we looking at double-digit growth for the year?
Yeah, I think we're pretty confident because even if you look at this financial year, in the first 2 quarters, we are literally negative. But we came back very strongly and we had good turnarounds happening in Q3 and Q4. I think the indicators are pretty positive, and we are very confident of growing along with lines of the industry, whatever I think has been projected.
Okay, great. So there's not much competitive pressure that you are really seeing on the ad side?
I don't think we will have any major pressure.
Great. Second, we also saw that there was a decline in the content cost from 3Q to 4Q. So anything you would like to highlight over there?
So Q3 being a festive quarter, I think there are some events, maybe some cost which has been incurred in terms of programming for Dussehra Diwali, which is not there in Q4.
Okay, and how this should shape up going ahead? Because you are planning to launch some shows as well, so any guidance you have in terms of number of hours or number of shows that you are targeting for next year, and any new genres or regions?
No, see, basically in terms of, I think like what we have been discussing in the past, over a period of time, slowly we will be moving away from the private producer model to the commission model. I think this quarter there were 1 prime time slot which got added to the commission and 2 non-prime time slots. So in Q2, there could be 1 such slot which will get moved. So ultimately during the prime time, we will have a mix of 50-50 between commission and programming. So to that extent, the inventory will get released, which will help us to grow our ad business at a much healthier rate. And so I think what we are doing now is even in terms of it's giving us advantage in terms of scaling up our production, because we are doing, at a network level, some of the new launches, which is expensive, but I think at the same time it's yielding very good results for us.
Okay, and on new launches and costs for next year, so what percentage of revenues are coming from commission model currently, and what are you expecting for next year? And also, if you can give some guidance on what are the launch plans.
Commission and PP is still there only in Sun TV. Otherwise, in all other channels, it's all the slots are commission, which means whatever is the current expenditure which we are incurring is more or less it will be remaining the same, but only with reference to Sun TV, there could be a couple of slots which will get moved away from the private producer model to the commission model. So I think that we can let you know what is the indicative cost. We don't have a fix on that number as of now.
Okay, I'll follow up in the queue. Thanks.
Thank you, sir. We have a next question from the line of Jiten Doshi from Enam Asset Management. Please go ahead.
Yeah. Hi, sir. Congratulations on a good set of numbers.
Thank you, Jiten.
Right. Now, basically, just wanted a couple of housekeeping questions. What is the cash that you are sitting on now? As on 31st March or probably as on date?
1,800 crores, including MF and tax-free bonds.
Okay. And, how are you looking at rewarding your shareholders in this 25th, silver jubilee year of yours? Are you going to increase the payout in the current year, or how are you seeing things?
I think the best way to reward shareholders, Jiten, is by growing the top line and improving the margins and, adding shareholder value. I know where you're coming from. We've had this discussion before. There is definitely a move to keep payout ratios pretty high, but as I said even in the last call, there is a reason why we are holding cash which is fairly, at a high level, because there is always an opportunity that will come by. And so just give us a few more quarters. I can't say much on the call because there are fetters on my ability to talk on public domain. But we will definitely look at improving the payout ratio. I think currently we are at about 55%, if my numbers are right.
You have totally given a 10 rupee dividend last year, am I correct?
200%. Correct.
Yeah, 200%.
8 rupees.
Okay.
8 rupees.
All right. And how much do you expect the swing from the IPL profit this year versus your loss last year?
See, again, this is difficult to, speak freely on the public domain because the numbers are there for everybody to see because the kind of bids that have been made by the new broadcaster, we are reasonably confident that, we will deliver a profit on IPL operations this year. But I wouldn't want to put a precise number at this stage for reasons of compliance.
Okay. Lastly, can you comment on your, ongoing discussions with Arasu and how are you seeing that shaping out in the current year?
See, as you can see, the subscription revenues have started moving up because I think this is the last major territory which is yet to be digitized. And we have concluded certain arrangements with Arasu, and there is a fairly robust uptick in terms of digitization that's happening across the state. And we are confident that by the end of this calendar year, the state will be substantially digitized.
Okay. All the best to you. Thanks a lot.
Thank you. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. We have a next question from the line of Sundar S. from Spark Capital. Please go ahead.
Congrats on the good set of numbers. So my first one is for Mahesh on the upcoming program list that you've got. As we are aware that Bigg Boss is ready for season 2 coming June. Have you got any direct programs in terms of reality shows which will be taking on that, or is it we just going to be sticking to the fiction format?
No, we will be sticking with our fiction because I think, ultimately even last time, I think though there was a lot of talk about Bigg Boss, there was no major dent in our overall programming. I think what our objective is to maintain our viewership share in that slot. And I think currently, even in the Bigg Boss slot, what Vijay had done last time, I think we are holding 50% plus share. But we are not satisfied with 50% share in our fiction. So we are trying to launch some new properties which will further strengthen our position because we can't keep, shifting loyalty of viewership between fiction and non-fiction. So I think basically instead of looking at absolute numbers, we are also very closely monitoring our overall share in every single half an hour slot. So our internal target is, at least during the prime time, should consistently maintain in excess of 60% viewership. So we are strategizing towards launching some, mega, serials with, very high level of production values, etc. in the next couple of months.
Thank you.
This will be long-lasting and it's not, sorry?
Sorry, sir.
No, I'm saying our objective is to do something which will be long-lasting for a couple of months, a couple of years, instead of doing something for 1 quarter and then, what happened, like, for example, subsequent to the Bigg Boss, the Star Vijay's overall viewership just fell by 80%, right? So they're still not able to recover from that. So I don't think we will be doing anything like that. So I think we will stay focused on fiction and improving our overall viewership across all the slots.
So just in continuation to this particular answer is that I agree that our absolute numbers haven't come off as yet. You're bang on that. But do you also concede that we have failed to attract new consumers into our particular Sun TV GEC? Is there anything that we're doing to address that?
Oh, see, I think every channel has got a DNA. So if you try to, fiddle around with that, that might create a huge impact because there are some loyal viewers for Sun TV. So basically, you can't, try and mix between your 40 plus to a 20 plus because the consumption of content today happens through multiple modes. And for whatever reason, even today, with all the impact of IPL, Sun TV is the number one channel this week in India. And there is a reason for it. There is a loyalty to the for the channel, and there has been there for quite some couple of years. So we don't want to disturb the apple cart now. And I think whatever little bit of aberrations which are happening, we are very much aware of it, but I think we will pull back very strong. And for your specific answer to your question in terms of how do we attract a new audience, I think that is also in our mind. We will come back with a plan very, very shortly in terms of how we are going to attract that particular viewership. The TV.
Perfect, sir. Thank you. Only, sir, just one question. Can you just give us the breakup of this quarter's revenue?
Yeah. Advertisement is 339 crores. Broadcast is 19 crores. International subscriptions are 43 crores. Domestic subscriptions 309 crores. Others around 6.5 crores.
Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. We have a next question from the line of Namit Agarwal from Ocean Dial Capital. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. On the ad revenue side, as far as Tamil Nadu is concerned, since we've been moving from the private producer model to the commission model, are you sort of witnessing a trend that you've been able to sort of increase the pricing on the ads because of the TRPs?
Yeah, so basically the monetization of the rating is based on certain benchmark pricing in the respective markets. So I think we have seen a very healthy growth in Tamil Nadu in the overall scheme of things, like whatever is the growth percentage, which is 25% growth in ad. I think with Tamil Nadu also in sync with that level of growth. So that is basically contributed primarily because of increase in the overall yield and also in terms of utilization of the available secondages.
So this model is basically working out in Tamil Nadu also?
Absolutely, yeah.
And sir, on the digitization side, how has it been progressing? Like initially people weren't paying anything. Right now currently they have to pay, say, 10x of what they were paying, even though it's a small amount. So how are people generally taking it?
Very, very encouraging.
Encouraging? Okay.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. Congrats and all the best.
Thank you, sir. We have next question from the line of Vikash Mantri from ICICI Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, good afternoon, sir. Two things. While in the earlier part where our market share got impacted because of Bigg Boss, our impressions didn't go down. So it was new market or subscribers that the other channels were gaining. But now if you see in the recent weeks, we have seen our market share go down that way and impressions also getting impacted. And I'm talking about both Tamil Nadu, also in Telugu and Kannada last few weeks have been weak. So can you help us? What's not working now and what's the plan?
No, because I think this is purely an IPL phenomena. So basically, if you look at the overall, in all the regional markets, now Star has got a regional feed happening. So they have gained some, reasonably good share across the market. So that the reason for that is the dent is primarily because of that. For example, if you look at Kannada market, Colors Kannada from the peak of 750 GRP this week, they have come to 600 GRPs. And I think this sort of volatility is there across all the markets. To a great extent, maybe there is not much disturbance happening in Kerala. But if you look at the growth of, for example, Star Sports Tamil, from a 30 GRP channel, this week they are at 180 GRP channels. This is excluding Star Sports English, which has also grown fivefold. So IPL as a property has been creating dent across India, and for which there has been loss of viewership. So I think that's the reason why relatively our share is down. And we are all waiting once the IPL is over. I'm sure that I think there will be, improvement in the overall. I mean, that share will be maybe. I think the guy who is owning, having the major share is also, losing in terms of impressions. So post IPL is what I think we should wait and watch. I think we are confident that we'll come back to the position we were pre-IPL.
Well, that helps, Mahesh. Also, sir, you talked about our channel having a DNA and therefore maybe we can't do the same programming as others. Does this mean for the current markets of Telugu, Tamil also to compete with the likes of Colors, Z, we need to have flanking channels?
That's there in our mind, so that's why I said that I can't disclose much now. We will come back at the right time when when we crystallize our plans. So yeah, but I think that is sort of work in progress.
Okay.
I think the point we are making is, at this level and position, we can't afford to do trial and error. Is what I think the point which we are trying to make.
Okay.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it. Because
sorry.
If it ain't broke, don't fix it.
Sure. On the IPL front, sir, you would have an idea now of the broadcaster share of kitty that you are due to receive. How much has that changed? Can you help?
No, the thing is, we are not supposed to know that number because we'll have to wait for BCCI to come and tell us what is this. See, we know broadly that 45% of that kitty will get distributed among the franchise owners. So I can only, point you in the direction of that computation. I can't tell you that this is the number that will come. Because you know that, it's about roughly 16,500 crores that they have bid for 5 years. And if you do the math, it's about 3,500 crores per annum. And you know what it was for the first 10 years that Sony paid. And then if you take in the upsides from the new Vivo contract, which is 440 crores a year, I mean, that has to be contrasted with some 80 crores is what the previous contract was, and before that was 36 crores. So everywhere there's been a huge rise in the amounts that BCCI will be making from these properties. Apply a 45% number, and then if you divide that, it's safe to say that we will turn around spectacularly, but I don't want to say what that number is going to be.
Thank you, sir. We have next question from the line of Ritvik Rai from Kotak Securities. Please go ahead.
Good evening, sir, and congratulations for a great set of numbers. Sir, I wanted to ask you first about the breakup for domestic subscription revenue, sir.
Domestic is around 104 is the paid channel, DTH is around 205.
All right, sir. And sir, the channels that you've talked about, you've hinted at, that you're looking at probably flanking channels in Tamil maybe. And in previous calls, one has also got a sense that you might be looking at newer markets. Could you give us some indication of, some kind of timeline that you have in mind about, when these kind of expenses could happen?
No, there is no definitive date, but I think only thing we can tell you is it's all work in progress.
But can what should one imagine, that these things will happen in the next year or two? And what could happen first? Could you...
Within this financial year.
Within this financial year. So these as well as new markets, the new channels that you're talking about maybe in Tamil and in new markets also could be in this coming year?
Yeah. Maybe not all new markets together. One market this year.
All right. And sir, you haven't spoken about the number of new markets that you're looking at. And are you looking at regional markets or in the markets also?
No, regional market.
Only regional.
All right. All right. Thanks very much.
Thank you, sir. We have next question from the line of Yogesh Karve from B&K Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks for the opportunity. So regarding the subscription revenue growth, could you talk about the drivers and which market it is coming from? So specifically, is Tamil Nadu seeing a better monetization or it's spread out across all the states?
Largely driven by Tamil Nadu.
Okay. And so the traction or the increase that we are seeing in domestic cable, so has there been any the content deal on the digital subscriber pertaining to ARSU which is reflecting, or that is still a work in progress?
No, we have concluded a deal with ARSU on the digital side also, and we have started earning revenues on that side also.
So that has started from fourth quarter onwards, is it?
Correct.
Right. And the analog deal will remain as it is, right? Whatever we earlier agreed.
Correct.
Right. So secondly, regarding the original content, I think the last call it was said that we had 2+2 commission model shows, and 3 has got added to this one, right?
Yeah.
Right. And so finally, on the industry, so if you look at the ad growth, so especially in the Tamil Nadu market, so could you just talk about what has been the growth for the industry during the quarter and how we would have performed vis-a-vis the industry?
See, I think we are only privy to the, Z numbers. Otherwise, we tracked in terms of consumption of secondaries, which is available as a part of the ADEX report. So, we have no absolute, in terms of this thing, but I think we are more or less in line with what Z has reported in terms of the ad growth. And so I think, and also the advantage we had was because of the post-demonetization last year, the base was low, so which has helped us to, show a very robust growth.
Sure, sir. And just a bookkeeping, so the breakup of depreciation and amortization?
Depreciation is 17 crores and amortization is 102 crores.
Sure, sir. Thanks a lot and all the best.
Thank you, sir. Participants are requested to kindly restrict their questions to 2 per participant. We have a next question from the line of Gaurav Agarwal from E&R Advisors Private Limited. Go ahead.
Sir, congratulations for the good results. Sir, can you give me the breakup of advertising revenue for this quarter and last quarter last year?
Advertisements 339 versus 270.
339 versus 270. Okay, thank you. Hello?
Hello? Yeah,
it's just sir.
Hi, this is Sonal Kohli. I also wanted to understand, since, you have shifted your business model and you're doing more in-house, so the number which you see in terms of advertisement maybe gets inflated because of the mix change. If you can tell us, what is the system-wide revenue growth if these changes wouldn't have happened?
No, we don't have that, exact number. I think we can give you this offline.
Okay, but very broadly, would you still say you would have still reported healthy, robust, 20% kind of ad growth?
Yeah, actually, I think,
actually, much of the company had shifted to this new dispensation some time back, as Mr. Mahesh said some minutes ago. Telugu, Kannada and Malayalam is completely changed over to the commission model. And it's only in Tamil that, we've taken some baby steps. And even there, I don't think the shift is so dramatic to alter the number of minutes that have been released. So I would say that it's almost all purely driven by the business upside, not because of any shift in the modeling.
Understood. Thank you so much. This is really helpful.
Yeah.
Thank you, sir. We have a next question from the line of Kunal Vora from BNP Paribas. Please go ahead.
Yeah, thanks and congrats for great numbers, sir. First thing on Sun Next, can you share your numbers? And would you look to change the strategy? How is it doing right now? Would you continue to charge subscription, or would you look at that model also?
No, I think we will continue to charge because I don't think we'll sell anything for free. And we had this discussion some time back when we met you, Kunal. I think this is still some time away. The reason why we've invested in this asset is because we know that someday this shift is going to happen. But at this point in time, it is still early days. And at least in the markets where we are focused on, I don't think people are going to stop watching TV and going, to a web exclusive content. So we don't think that that kind of shift is going to happen in a hurry, at least in the South Indian markets. So it is still...
is the initial response encouraging? Are you seeing customers subscribe or...
earlier there was a big flurry of downloads and a lot of people came on board and some people, have stayed on. But as I mentioned, it is not something which is going to move the needle in any appreciable way. And we are also not going to go overboard in terms of investments into exclusive content for the OTT platform. So I would say that this is something which is nice to have, but I think in terms of an acceleration, it's still some time away.
But I think overall, the model is also changing. I think there is a lot of strategic tie-ups, I think, which is likely to happen. So that's how the industry is moving, like you see what, even Hotstar and all. So I think we are getting some very good, feedback and response from the market. So you will see that this business will turn around.
So you are working on telco tie-ups? You are working on telco tie-ups and increase monetization from that side?
Yeah. In fact, that's always there. I mean, we have, signed up with telcos, and we're also looking at other platforms because there's all kinds of changes that are happening all over the world. People, the other day I just saw there's one new, Netflix kind of a platform which has been floated on a curated basis. Some guy from Turkey has started, just 30 movies. So there's all kinds of innovations happening in this space. So we keep our eyes and ears open, and at the right time we will step up the investments if there is a business case.
Sure. Second question on the IPL. Does BCCI have any discretion regarding how much it will distribute, or it's just a mathematics that
it's all the part of the contract. It's something based on the franchise agreement which has been signed.
So there is absolutely no risk there that something can go wrong. Whatever it is, it has to come to you.
Yeah.
Sure. Okay. And last question, on Tamil Nadu market, what's the latest? How many households break up between DTH, digital cable, analog cable, free dish? If you can give that number.
See, this is unfortunately, we will not know this till the whole digitization flows through. It's only an educated guess at this point in time. We think there are at least another 12 million homes to go, maybe 13 million homes.
Approximately, I think, 9 to 10 million homes.
Okay.
Because I think digital cable has progressed substantially from less than 1 million, it's about 4.5 million now, which is very, very healthy.
Okay, so 4 to 5 million digital cable, and how big would be DTH?
Another 5 million.
5 million, okay. And do you think free dish is popular or not much in your market?
Sorry?
Free dish? DD free dish?
No. Free dish is not.
Nothing at all, okay. So you're saying 10 million households, DTH and digital cable, and another 10 million which you feel are analog, which can convert to digital?
Yeah.
Or DTH, yeah, sure. Okay. That's it from my side. Thank you.
Thank you, sir. Participants, kindly restrict your questions to 2 per participant. We have a next question from the line of Alankar Garude from Macquarie. Please go ahead.
Hi, sir. Congrats on the good results. First question, more of a continuation of the previous one. So we have seen a 10% sequential improvement in DTH revenues in this quarter. So you also shared this 5 million number in Tamil Nadu. So what used to be this number, say, about 10 years back? And I just wanted to pick up your thoughts on the DTH additions in the state.
No, I think 10 years ago, I don't know if anybody remembers, but
1 year ago.
1 year, okay.
Yeah.
I think we thought there was about 18 million homes, which was the potential opportunity, and we knew approximately what was the DTH number. So the remainder is the number that was attributed to analog. So I think that number is substantially changed because of the traction that we have seen in digitization in the last few months.
Okay, so and can you quantify the DTH subscribers, say maybe 1 or 2 years back in the state?
We don't have specifically, because these are all our internal guesstimates. Basically, we can only tell you the...
Also, they don't disclose the state-wise numbers. They just disclose the full month number, and we take the opening balance and they divide by 2 and raise the invoice. So there is no way that, we can get, reliable data on what is the number of DTH homes inside Tamil Nadu. So there's a bit of an issue there because, Tata Sky and Airtel and all these people just report a all-India number.
Right. So secondly, considering that we are planning some new launches, new shows, plus possibly new channels, and on the other hand, we have this IPL benefit which is likely to come in FY19. So can you help us understand how EBITDA margins can shape up in FY19?
It will be very, very positive for 2 reasons, because IPL will turn around. Plus, you have an increase in the revenue mix out of subscription, which has a huge operating leverage because it has no costs. So margins are going to be substantially up.
Thank you, sir. This is very helpful.
Thank you. We have a next question from the line of Rohit Dokania from IDFC Securities. Please go ahead.
Yeah, hi, good evening, gentlemen. Thank you for the opportunity. Just 2 questions from my side. One was, on the subscription revenue front, can you talk about if there is any catch-up revenue from Arasu that you would have booked in this quarter, which is probably one-off for the quarter but not for the full year?
A little bit. I think it's a very, very minuscule number. I don't remember what it is, but there was some catch-up revenue.
Okay, and just continuing on this bit, sir, can you talk about, can you give more color on the sort of, contours of the deal if possible?
See, we don't disclose exact terms with, we have deals with so many people, Hathway, Tata Sky, Videocon. We don't discuss distributor-wise pricing and all that. Because it's not fair also, because, we can't turn up, and this will get publicized. The transcripts of the call will be there.
Sure.
We can't be talking about precise numbers that we've negotiated with distributors.
Sure, I understand. So to put it differently, it is pretty much on line with what we were expecting when we were getting into the discussions?
Yeah. See, the thing is, we also understand that, it's a transition from a fixed fee deal to a per subscriber deal, and, they also, new to digitized environment. So end of the day, they are an important customer, and we have to make sure that we carry them along. But I think, we now have a great relationship going, and we have no doubt that this is going to be a very important revenue driver for FY19.
Sure, so thanks for that. Just one last question. There appears to be, some significant increase in receivables. Can you, let us know what is on this account of?
No, I think some of the agreements with the DTH and including even the Arasu cable got signed up during the last quarter between February and March. So we had to do the billing only towards the end. So subsequently, the money has already come in.
Okay, that makes sense. Thanks a lot, sir, and wish you all the best.
Thank you, sir. We have next question from the line of Sanjay Chawla from JM Financial. Please go ahead.
Hello, good evening. Thank you for the opportunity. My first question is on the digital cable revenues that you've started getting from Arasu in Tamil Nadu. You mentioned there are 4.5 million DAS cable households in Tamil Nadu right now. So with respect to the revenues and the payments that you're getting, does it pertain to all the 4.5 million households in Tamil Nadu? If not, what percentage of households out of these 4.5 million would be contributing to the revenues that you're getting from Arasu?
All of them are, of course, contributing.
No, actually, now, apart from Arasu, there are also a lot of other MSOs who has come up in Tamil Nadu. So I think Arasu could be some major significant portion of this 4.5. But there are also at least more than 1 dozen MSOs spread across the state who have digitized, who have signed agreements with us, who have been, contributing to the revenue.
Okay, so basically whatever digital cable revenues you're getting in Tamil Nadu, they do pertain to these 4.5 million underlying households as far as last quarter is concerned?
Right, you're right.
At the end of March or as on date? That's another question.
Sorry, is it as of date? As on today's date?
March. Yes, correct. As of March only.
This is end of March?
Yes. Whether it is RSU cable or the independent operators, all of them we have agreements with them. So the revenue flows in comes in from there directly.
Okay, that's great. Second question is, in those areas where digital cable has been rolled out in Tamil Nadu, what is the typical end customer ARPU that you are seeing, or based on the feedback that you have?
It's gone up substantially.
Can you share some numbers of the range, like the base pack?
It's available in RSU cable website. So basically, they have come up with a rate card. So
at a very base level, it's about 15-16 rupees. It goes up to about 30 rupees.
End customer. So end customer is an upwards of 150 rupees. See, RSU cable, initially they said they're going to give cable at 70 rupees plus pack. But in digital, I think the entry-level pack is 125 rupees plus 18% tax. So which is close to 150, 149 rupees. So I think that has actually also helped for DTH also to grow, because initially there used to be a big arbitrage between cable and DTH. So that has made the business model viable, digital cable business model, which is contributing for people to actually deploy more number of boxes. So this, we are seeing that change. I think the price announced by RSU is available in the public domain. I think you can have a look at it.
Okay, thank you so much. Just one housekeeping question. What is the number of underlying DTH pay TV customers, for which you got paid last quarter?
Sanjay, we don't have the number at this moment. I'll come back to you.
All right. Thank you and all the very best.
Thank you, sir. We have a next question from the line of Jay Doshi from Kotak Securities. Please go ahead.
Hi, congratulations on very good set of numbers. Would it be possible for you to give us a guidance, some sort of indication what should we expect on domestic subscription revenue growth next year? I believe you ended the year with about 19% growth this year. So should we expect it to move up 20-25% kind of growth?
Possible.
Understood. Thank you. So it's reasonable to expect that the entire upside that you're expecting from digitization will be more front-ended and not back-ended.
I think between now and end of the calendar year, we should be able to execute most of it.
Great. That's good to know. Second is, what is the movie capex sort of investment in movies that you will incur in the coming financial year? What are the projects?
400 to 425 crores.
And so essentially you're not seeing any inflation or inflationary in the market as far as movies is concerned.
Sorry, we couldn't get that.
I think a lot of disturbance.
I'm sorry, I'm at another meet, so my apologies if there is disturbance.
No worries. Tell me again.
Are you seeing any inflation in the market? Because we've seen Z report yesterday, and they've been buying a lot of movies in the regional markets as well. So are you seeing any inflation in movies, in cost for movie, satellite rights?
Yeah, this is something which has been happening ever since we started buying movies, because it's every passing year there is an inflation and all these stars are all getting more and more pricey. So obviously there will be inflation. But the trick to manage that is by adopting a mix. If you buy only big blockbuster movies, you'll have very few movies and you'll waste all your ammunition. So you ought to do a mix of big banner movies and some highly, promising young directors. And that's a way to make sure that you also have a very refreshed content. So we try and manage it in such a way that we have enough movies and also use the available budget very judiciously.
Thank you. Just one last bookkeeping question. What is, how many, what will be the mix of private producer shows and in-house shows for Sun TV as of now?
4 out of 8. Out of Sun TV, how many?
On Sun TV, how many shows are, private producer shows, or as a percentage of your total channel content?
Now it could be approximately 80%.
So 80% is still slot sale or?
No, slot. For only Sun TV. Only Sun TV, yeah.
Understood. Okay. Thank you so much. That's very helpful.
Thank you very much, sir. We have next question from the line of Sundar S. from Spark Capital. Please go ahead.
So thanks for the follow-up. So just a continuation to the previous one, in terms of, I just want to get what is the number that you have in mind for the movie production business, and when are those 2 movies expected to hit screens?
I think one movie is almost 80% complete. I think we are hoping that we can release that movie during Diwali. The other movie with Rajinikanth and the production is, I think it is a very, very preliminary stage. So maybe we are hoping either Q4 or maybe Q1 of next year.
And then what's the outlay, sir?
Both put together could be 250 to 300 crores.
Right. Thank you, sir.
Thank you, sir. We have next question from the line of Ankit Kedia from Centrum Broking. Please go ahead.
Sir, for the ad growth, could you share some breakup between the volume and pricing? How has that been? And ex-Tamil Nadu, the other 3 channels, how has been the ad growth?
So out of, say, 25%, approximately 10% growth is contributed because of increase in the yield, and 15% is due to inventory utilization. So Tamil Nadu, like I said, we generally don't give statewide numbers.
Yeah, but if I just take the 3 states combined, would that growth be, say, mid-teens, or that would also be in line with the overall growth? If some color you can share.
You're twisting the question either way to give us an answer.
I think some markets have shown some really healthy growth. I think Tamil Nadu, like I said, is more or less in sync with the growth of the company. But maybe I think some other states have grown much beyond, this average. Some has been in the mid-teens. So overall, I think since 60-65% of the revenue is coming from TN, I think the TN growth is in sync with whatever is the growth of the company.
And so, Zee is talking of launching a channel in the Malayalam language. So what is our strategy to counter that? Well, we are not number 1 players there. So are we increasing the original content there more, increasing programming hours, or buying more movies there? What will be our strategy to counter that?
If you look at our overall Malayalam, I think it has shown some really healthy growth. I think we have grown close to 50% in terms of GRP. We are a very, very strong number 2 there. And the gap between us and Malayalam Manorama is almost, close to 70 to 80 GRPs, which is quite substantial. And even in terms of our overall share between GEC and non-GEC has grown substantially in that market. So I think we are very, very well entrenched, and we would continue to invest more in terms of, grabbing some additional movies or, doing some original programming, which is already in the pipeline. Like I said, that some of the new commissioned shows will be at a network level and not at a market level. So I think, we are not too much perturbed about this, noise being made by Zee.
And so, by the new commission programming at network level, you mean we'll dub the same program in multiple languages and show it together?
No. I think, for example, in Kannada, I think the dubbing is not allowed. So it will be the same properties or the sets which we use, but it is not going to be dubbed.
Okay. I get that. Thank you so much, sir.
Thank you, sir. We have next question from the line of Namit Agarwal from Ocean Dial Capital. Please go ahead.
So thanks for the follow-up. Sir, on this new tariff order, I'm just a bit confused in the sense that it says there has to be uniform pricing across all the sort of mediums. So basically, does that mean that your DTH pricing and your Arasu digital pricing has to be same in any case?
Yeah, I think the regulation's intention is that, yes.
So, say, for example, you've been able to charge 45 rupees per subscriber on the DTH side, whereas just for example purposes, you've been able to get 18 rupees from Arasu. So how is that going to move? Is this 18 going to move towards 45 or the 45?
No. See, what you're missing is they're not apple to apple, because in certain packages you get a lot of channels.
Right.
In certain other packages you sell only 2 or 3.
No, I think, see, the deal with DTH always is for all our channels together, which is, say, we have 33 channels. So we do a composite deal for all markets, which is all 4 southern markets. But Arasu Cable's deal is only for Tamil channels.
Okay.
So if you take all 4 language channels and add up together the way they are doing, it will come to actually 70 to 80 rupees.
And also in Arasu, you must note that there are homes which are in the border towns. Say Nagarkoil people, most of them speak Malayalam.
Yeah.
North Tamil Nadu, bordering Tada, Nellore, people speak Telugu.
So they all do Rio deal actually.
Coimbatore and Rajapalayam, many people speak Telugu at home, like the Naidus in Coimbatore. The mother tongue for all of them is Telugu. You go to Rajapalayam, everybody speaks Telugu. So those are the kind of areas where you'll be selling both Sun as well as Gemini. So the yields will be much higher in that particular plan.
Right.
So we can't now, because it's a very complex kind of a game, because we have something like 28 channels and then some are HD. And when you have HD access, your yields are that much higher. So it's not easy to do a very simple. It's not like selling, let's say, petrol or diesel.
Right.
Because, then whether you sell it to a guy with a Maruti or a Rolls Royce, it's all the same.
Yeah.
But here it will be very, very differentiated. And we can't, put this into any kind of sensible framework.
Yeah, got it.
So what we do is we as a strategy, we try to sell more, make the guy consume more, and we always put this very attractive proposition where if you take 2 channels, you get a better price. Right. So this way, you maximize the wallet share. So that's the name of the game, and we try to upsell. Like, at a very base level, you'll be selling only Sun TV, Sun News, and KTV. And then if they want to take Aditya, which is our comedy channel, or Chutti, which is our cartoon channel, and say our retro movies channel or our music channel, our realization per household becomes that much richer. So the trick here is to make sure that you're constantly upselling.
Sure, got it. Thanks for clarifying. So last question from my side. With regards to digitization happening, are you seeing a lot of people move into the Arasu, or are there some people even moving towards the DTH channels? Arasu digital versus DTH, the conversion from analog.
Yeah, I think DTH is also, we are seeing healthy growth in this market. See, basically the whole concept of digitization will trigger people at that point of time to make decision whether they want to align with cable or DTH. So far they have been getting analog cable at dirt cheap price. Once the difference between the cable price and the DTH is more or less similar, then I think they will look at quality of service and what are the other things like, what is the content available, etc. So
video on demand.
So basically, I think it will move in a direction where ultimately the market will be split between cable and DTH in the ratio of 50-50.
Which is substantially higher for us because DTH we are able to sort of charge premium pricing as compared to Arasu, right?
Yes.
Yeah. Thanks, sir.
Thank you, sir. We have a next question from the line of Gaurav Agarwal from E&R Advisors Private Limited. Please go ahead.
Can we limit this to the last? Yeah, because we said by 6 p.m. we wanted to draw it to a close. If there are any further questions, we can be contacted later.
Sure. Hi, Asil.
Hi.
This is Sonal. Thanks for this opportunity again. Just one question, you said that you started getting revenue from Arazu and from digitization. So the entire flow-through was for the full 3 months, or it was for a partial period of last quarter?
Partial.
Okay, so there is likely to be an upside to this number because it's not fully accounted for in the last quarter, right?
Basically, the way the deal is, as and when Arasu deploys the box, they will declare the number to us. See, it is not that they have hit 2 million in day one. Yeah. So they have been progressively deploying the boxes over the period of the last 4 to 5 months. And I don't know what is the exact number. So to that extent, I think as and when they keep adding the boxes, the revenue or the subscription revenue for us will.
No, but I must say you hit the nail on its head. So the actual upside will be a lot more pronounced as the numbers keep ramping up because we just started digitizing during the quarter. So, as we stabilize with these higher numbers, the flow through to the bottom line will be a lot more pronounced. You're right.
And sir, as far as the Arazu deal is concerned, I don't want to know any details. I just want to know, is it like the rate remains the same, or because slowly the customers are going to shift to this model and therefore the rate is lower in the initial stages and it could ramp up over the years?
Yeah, see, whenever we sign deals, we don't hold the rates for all times to come. So there is always a negotiation and it's defined for a certain period. If it is very attractive, we may sign for even 3 years. But if it is not something which we like, we sign it only for a year. And then we revisit when the year passes. So there is all kinds of possibilities here. But we will, but the crucial thing to have achieved this year was getting the customer into our fold. And that's been accomplished.
Lovely. And lastly, you mentioned about a 300 crore kind of broad addition due to digitization going forward. I think in the last quarterly con call sometime around that point of time. Does the number to you after this Arazu deal and, further, information you have since you started digitization, remains the same over, let's say steady state number, let's say 24 months from now? Would you say, it would be incremental of 300 crores compared to Q3 number on an annualized basis, or it could be much larger or much lower or in that range?
So we've already hit that number in this quarter. If you look at our subscription revenues for the quarter, it's well past 300 crores.
No, I meant, sir, incremental 300 crores because of digitization, what we are talking about.
Yeah. That number could be easily surpassed.
Could it even be 500 crores? I'm just asking in terms of possibilities.
I think it's somewhere in between. Definitely more than 300, but may not be 500.
Lovely. Great. Thank you so much.
Yeah. Thank you very much, sir. Ladies and gentlemen, that was the last question. I now hand the conference over to the management for closing comments. Over to you, sir.
Yeah, I think we've had a very healthy quarter. I think the company is positioned very well for the next financial year. And thanks to everybody for your support, your faith, and being in touch with us as, things happened. And thank you very much. Good night.